And we are live, baby. Hey, tell me what we got coming up.
Man, we got a lot of good topics. One, we got to talk about Brady coming back, question mark, question mark. The diminishing value of the running back. Is it a lost call? Is it a lost era now? And then, of course, we have to talk about the damn Madden ratings, not only for the wide receivers, but the safeties. We had a lot of things that people are like, what the hell? So we definitely got a lot of things to talk about, and we got guests in the house. So get ready. Let's get ready.
Okay, man, let's fucking go.
What it do, y'all? What's up, Buck fans? It is Bucs Report, the aftermath. You got your boy AJ Turn up in the house. We got Coach Slick, the British guy who's always flying and on standby. What's good? I hope y'all doing great tonight. Thank you again for joining us. And again, we got a action-packed full of topics because it's getting closer day by day.
Yep.
I can't wait. Preseason will start probably in the next week or two. We're going to really see what the quarterback situation is going to be, even though I think us Buck fans really know what it's really more slided to. But right now, we got some good shit. We got a special guest. So how you living, Coach Slick?
I'm feeling pretty good. We'll go back in the season. We had a 2-week off, so I'm ready, refreshed. Just finished my scouting videos. Just finished up how I want to attack this team. So be ready to go. This team loves the trips. They like a wide bunch. They like a tight bunch. They like to motion a lot. So it's going to be an interesting one. Fun game.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But they do the same shit and everything. Like they're pretty set in what they do. They either run that way or they run that way, and that's it. That's pretty much all they do.
So Byron Leftwich got a job. Byron got a job.
Byron's got a job.
Byron got a job. He went overseas.
He went overseas. He didn't get paid over there.
He don't deserve a dime. But yes.
Okay, but without further ado, we got to bring our boy in, right?
Yes, we do. Let's bring him in.
All right. We have Mr. Devin. Add him to the stream. Welcome to the show, Devin. How are you?
I'm good, although I'm doing less good knowing that Byron Leftwich is getting work on some offense somewhere.
Look, hey, as long as it's not on the Bucs, I don't care. Take it somewhere else. Take that same HB counter somewhere else. But please, Devin, look, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and let the Buck community know who you are.
Right. So this past season, I guess last season, I kind of started when the Bucs made the series of layoffs, including the aforementioned Byron Leftwich. I kind of started writing about the Bucs. I can't say, unfortunately, I've really been a Bucs fan all my life. My father and my brother have basically been. So I was born in Orlando, and I've always been around the Buccaneers. And my brother right now is actually watching the Rays hopefully beat the Royals. But yeah, I've always been a fan of the Buccaneers. But like I would say 2019, I was like really paying attention to them. I guess that would kind of make me a bandwagon fan, although they still weren't really that great. It's just like it wasn't as embarrassing as it had been. But yeah, so my thing had always been I'm really good at writing. So I was just like, well, I'll just start a blog. And that's what I've been doing. I will say it's been hard these past few, it feels like months, like actually finding stuff to write about. But, I've been trying. But so yeah, I actually did, because I know we're talking about the running backs, I did kind of talk about if the Bucs needed a running back, because as much faith as I have in Dave Canales and, Rashad White and to a lesser extent, Sean Tucker, I really like him. I still feel like, you have to keep your options open when you have one of the worst rushing attacks like this century.
Yep.
Damn straight. Nah, but look, 2019 not bad. You came in right before you could. Hey, look, the Bucs were still a bad team at that point. They were on the come up. But hey, you could say, look, I was there when Jameis was there. That'll absolve you of everything in this Bucs community. As long, all you gotta do is say, "Look, I was here when Jameis was here." Leave you alone.
I always watched a little bit here and there, just simply because my dad and brother watched. But like 2019 was the first time I really paid attention.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I swear to God, it was 2019 where Jameis Winston started off 2 games by throwing an interception, like the first play of the game.
Yeah, it was 20. That was his rookie season. Yeah, his first play was an interception, and that was against.
I remember one against the Panthers.
Tennessee.
I think 2019 he started off like one of the Panthers games with an interception, and that was the first play. I was just like, "Yep, that seems right."
Yeah, that was the Bucs in a nutshell. It was highs and lows. We had a lot more lows, but when we had the highs, we cherished them. So that's all good. That's all good. And speaking of cherish, we need to just get this out the way. Buck fans, no, Brady fans, we will cherish everything that the GOAT brought. He brought us a second Super Bowl. He brought stability to an organization that didn't have anything. He brought good media attention to give other Buccaneer players the shine and respect that they deserve. And the most important thing, we were able to hoist a Lombardi trophy. Thank you so much, but that's where it ends. I'm tired of this shit. I just think I think Winfield is just talking just to get more buzz. But Devin, let me ask you first: Is Brady coming back, or is that it?
It's funny because it's like last year, it wasn't any Bucs player. Like every Bucs player, I think Mike Evans especially was like, I don't know, he could decide not to, but no one confidently said that Brady was coming back on the team. Like, I think it was I can't remember who broke it first. It might have been like Brady's dad or something. Was like, oh, Brady, retirement is not all it seems, but like really, there's been nothing. Like, I think it seemed sincere when he retired, like this time. And I know like people have during like the early days of the offseason, but like, oh, he's going to Miami, he's going to the 49ers. But he said himself, it was the Bucs or retirement. And I think it's retirement. I don't really see it coming back, especially not now. Like, he would not let the team waste their money on Baker Mayfield if he was coming back. Like, I think I think it's it. I think that was his last dance.
How about you? Come on, Slick. How about you? We know you've been thinking about this.
I was looking a little bit just to see what's going on. So, I mean, I didn't get this information, but I'm going to put my reputation on the stake, a little bit of stake here. But I'm pretty sure when he unretired at the start of preseason.
I think it was a little bit before, because I think he got Ryan Jensen to come back.
Exactly. So my point being is, we're way past that point. They've already, as you said, they brought in Baker Mayfield. There is no way that he's going to go, I'm unretired and I'm going back to the Buccaneers. I just don't see it happening because there's so many moving parts right now. Everything's kind of set. This team has $2 million in salary cap. Yeah, things can be changed. And we know the Buccaneers are very good at manipulating the cap. That's something that they've been great at. All they have to do is re-sign Mike Evans and get him to offset his salary for a year, and that will re-sign Brady for one whole year or something crazy like that. They'll have about $1 billion voidable years, and he's being paid till like 2050 or some shit. But realistically, it's just not going to happen. It's not feasible. And what shape is Tom Brady in at this point? I know he's a quarterback, and we did have people like Jay Cutler said, "Well, I'm a quarterback. I could just come in and play." And look how that turned out.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously we know Brady's a health nut, but I can't imagine he's still practicing. Like, I feel like that would have been leaked a lot earlier. I mean, the only thing that gives me pause is, why would Antoine Winfield say it? Like, that's the only like wild card in all of this to me. It's like, he has no reason to say that. And really, I feel like if you're Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, like you hear Winfield say that, it's like, well, that, I don't know, that's not the biggest sign of faith, like, in your guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Levante David came out and basically said how much Baker is. I'm going to look for the quote while we talk, but
the locker room presence
stuff as well. So I think maybe it was just a bit of fun, and I see your point. It is a bit of a random one. Was Winfield trolling?
Yes,
he probably was.
I feel like he seems like when, like, I remember the post Super Bowl interview where he's like, where you explained holding up the peace sign, like, he doesn't care. He's kind of just having fun out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what makes him great. I think he was trolling and he was just saying things for shock value and just to mess with the media. I do think behind closed doors, Slick is right. The players have already decided who they're going to rally behind, whether it's Trask or Baker. We won't truly
It's
know.
Baker, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
We
Baker
can
more than
all
likely.
pretend
It's Baker.
it's a two-legged race.
Yeah,
I'm
It's a
pretty
fucking
sure
one-legged
like
race.
2 players have said like 2 comments positive about Trask, and then they just been like, all right, next question, and move on.
there it is.
Which-
Exactly. So that shows you Slick is right. Baker's more so the guy. The Brady sensation, we just got to stop because it's done. And we for Buck fans, every Buck fan is always appreciative of what players bring to a team, especially a championship. But there is a time where we know it's time to move on. And that's what Brady fans are not. They're trying to they're trying to hold on to the last hope that he can make another comeback, and it's just because of how bad the season last year turned out.
Yeah.
Because legends like Brady shouldn't go out that way. But if you think about it, most great players don't go out on a happy ending.
Really,
It's
the
very
only
rare.
one is Peyton. Sorry, but it's only Manning.
John Elway, those guys. And what did they do? They left even when they had a good team around them. When John Elway retired, Shannon Sharp was still in his prime. You had Rod Smith there. You had Terrell Davis. They had a team, but Elway knew when to quit because he knew my time is up.
He got dragged to a Super Bowl and won it. It's the same with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was not good that season, despite other seasons. Like the season that they got beat by the Seahawks was probably the season where if he would have won, you could imagine him going, you know what? Let's go for another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was how emphatic they were in their victory in that Super Bowl. So hang on, we just scraped into the Super Bowl and won it. Imagine if we have a year 2 of this. So Tom Brady's like, let's go for it. And we have that year 2, and it doesn't go to plan when we get to the Rams. And we were so close to just capping that game off. Maybe he was thinking, I'm retiring. I'm kind of retiring on a high note in a sense.
Yep.
But Tom Brady's that perfectionist that wants to finish on the ultimate high, which is the Super Bowl. And we all felt that probably maybe he could have turned around on that Super Bowl season and gone, I'm done. And no one would have been angry. No one would have been angry in the slightest.
No, I think most 31 or 30 NFL fan bases would have cheered.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
for sure.
Like there would have been like an anti-Super Bowl parade if Brady had announced like right then and there he was gone.
Yeah, the thing, and that's the thing. You're right. Another thing about it, that Super Bowl was the base, was the cake. The second year was the icing on it. That was just
that's when the offense just went.
Yeah, that's when the offense was explosive. The third season, I think Brady was coming back for so many other reasons that wasn't about necessarily football being spiteful. I think he was just being spiteful at that point. Of course, he's a perfectionist, but he didn't come in with the same intensity that he had in year 1 and 2. And we know this. We saw the play, and within the locker room and the coaching staff, we didn't see the same intensity, the same adjustments. We didn't see any of that. So that's why Brady fans are really hurting, because they don't want to see their hero go out like that. It's like Jordan when he was with the Wizards. It wasn't a good sight. Ali, when he was in the 80s fighting and he was going through his Parkinson phase. Nobody likes to see you don't want to see your idol humiliated or have cringy moments. And that's what it was like for Brady throughout last season. Cringy moments. He had some old Brady moments, but we can be real. The team was not the same after when Arians made that announcement that he gave the keys to Bowles and Byron was calling the shots. We wanted to believe, but we knew at the end of the day it wasn't it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were sold a little bit of a lie based on the media that this offense was going to be even more dynamic, because we were told that there was this amazing game plan that Tom Brady and
Byron
had put together.
Yeah, no more Arians red pen.
Arians came down from his fort and just came out with his red pen and went, nope, we keep that, change that, put this route there, put that there, cut and pasted it and went, that's what you're using, and then walked away. And it supposedly upset Brady. We don't know how it affected the coach, but we thought we were going to get this unadulterated, crazy like mishmash of two minds, this emerging mind of Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady, who knows football, and we were going to get this, oh my God, kind of offense. And it did not happen at all.
No,
we were saying,
18
oh my
points.
God, for different reasons. We were like, oh my God, this is bad. So yes, we
No, it's still, oh my God, I guess.
Yeah, we thought old Coach Aaron, look, Arians is just that's something that we would have to figure out. That's not going to come out until years and years down the line. But yes, that is that's it, Buck fans. The Brady era is over. Now, don't fret. We had 3 spectacular years because despite last year, the biggest things, we swept the Saints for the first time in a long time. So that's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. And then we still were a playoff team.
Technically, we were in the playoffs.
Yes. Hey, we were in the playoffs.
There's nothing technical about it. We showed up in the postseason. It doesn't matter. We were attendees. We were attendees. That's it.
So 3 straight years of being in the playoffs. We haven't seen that since the Dungy era. That was the 90s. We haven't seen it since then. So cherish.
Did Gruden not do 3 years in a row? Was it only 2?
No.
Gruden 3 years in the playoffs, 2 back-to-back divisional championships is what we got.
That's it. Yep. 2002, then 2005, and then 2007. That's it. We had 3 playoff series, and that's it with Chucky. So
the last playoff win was 2002.
Yep. So it's been a while. I was in middle school, so that's how long ago it was. But yeah, the Brady era was sensational. It will be something that will be arguably the greatest free agent signing in all of sports history. So the Bucs, we are cemented in history. We got a Super Bowl out of it. And then the second season, we had one of the greatest offensive teams of all time. Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Godwin, Gronkowski, Scotty Miller, Brady, and then Leonard Fournette. You can't beat that's literally one of the greatest offenses that the NFL will ever see.
Yeah.
Ever see. I will put that receiving core against a lot of the greats of all time. Who's stopping a prime Mike Evans and a prime Godwin, and you had Antonio Brown and Gronk. It was perfect. So, Buck fans, Bucks and Brady fans,
we're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. The chapter, look, I got a book somewhere. The chapter is done. So look, you guys, this is the Brady book. We closing this shit. We just closed it, guys. We closed the shit. It's done. The chapter is done. It's written. If you want to do some blogs about the good old Brady days, that's fine. But it's over. It's done. We're moving on. Anybody got any last, Devin? You got any last things you want to say to the Brady fans?
I think people have especially the Brady fans having a hard time move on from him because it wasn't like Peyton Manning where it was like Peyton Manning just looked dead on the field because Brady apart from the Bengals game the 49ers, he still looked like a competent quarterback. If you were to compare him to 2021 Brady, he looked like dog shit compared to that, but he was still a good quarterback. It wasn't it wasn't like Matt Ryan who looked dead on the field or Peyton Manning. So I think that's why some people he can still play. He even said it himself, he thought he could still play. He just wanted to go out on his own terms. So I think that's why.
That was awesome.
Yes, it was awesome. Yes, I thank you, Devin. Now, but you're right. And I think that's why, because when you see someone can play at that level still, it does make you question and go, wow, if all we got to do is tweak this and that. But in reality, it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, you can only handle so many comebacks against garbage teams before it's maybe it's time to move on.
Right.
And this was the thing I found when I was watching the Buccaneers, and it's a scheme. It was a scheme thing too. I don't know how much of Tom Brady had on input on that, play calling system and how they implemented their game plans. I would assume the quarterback and the coach tend to be pretty shit hot and glued together, should be married at the hip. But from what I saw from Brady, he only played for the last 4 minutes of the game, and that's when we got Brady.
Yeah, I remember the Warren Sharp stats where it's if the game ended before the fourth quarter, I think the Buccaneers are 6-10 or 3-14. It was abysmal because it's just the Buccaneers needed so many the Saints. Brady basically had to defy all the odds. The Rams too.
And that was the weird thing. It was like they couldn't string together passes, and then all of it, and third downs, they were losing third down, and then all of a sudden we hit the fourth quarter, the final 4 minutes, and it was third and this, third and that. No matter what the third down was, it was we're completing it, we're completing it, we're completing it, we're
I
completing
think there
it.
is a reason for that. It's because the Brady was probably the one. Like I know, like Brady should have been playing better for like the other 3 quarters or the other 55 minutes. But the fact of the matter is, like when those 4 minutes came, I think Byron Leftwich knew just get out.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, like I said, like that's not an excuse for Brady because at the end of the day, like Brady is good enough where he should be like, this play is awful. Don't run it, Leftwich, like, or he should audible or something. Which is why it's so confusing that season because it's like there are moments where it's like Brady is clearly doing better than Byron Leftwich, but at the same time, like that shouldn't matter.
Politics. It's just the politics of the business because you don't ever want to see all the players undermining the coach because then that creates anarchy. And Brady is I'm gonna listen to the coach no matter what. Think about all the years that he was under Belichick. But I do agree with you. Personally for me, if I was in Brady's shoes, it would have gone to a point where I had to take over the game because the Rams game is a perfect example. Slick talked about this. Byron wanted to run the damn ball.
It's the Seattle. It wasn't Seattle.
It was the Rams game. It was the Rams game. It was the Rams game. Byron wanted to run that, Devin. The last play, Brady had to change that. If we run the ball,
was that the Rashad White pass? Or was that Kate Auden?
No, that was Kate Auden.
That was Auden. Okay.
That was if we run and Slick has said this so many
times. He runs up to Byron and he says it's going to be this, this, and this, and he said, "Well, what about this?" And he goes, "Yeah, we'll go with that." And they do it. We win the game and whatever. And with the rest of us are dumbfounded, like, wow, like.
Because that was Kate Auden's first touchdown, wasn't it?
Yes. And Slick broke it down eloquently. If we get stopped, the game's over.
Yeah, because we didn't have any timeouts.
No.
It was 16 seconds.
And that's why I didn't like it because with a run, if you tackle them before they score, the clock still runs. If you throw a pass that's not there, you can throw it out of bounds and you've got another down, at least. Yeah. At absolute minimum, you can look at that clock and go, right, it's got 10, I've got 10 play seconds. I go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, out. I've got another play. I can do it again. I can at least do it twice, realistically, if I'm going to be that methodical about it. And someone like Tom Brady is going to... Now, I'd have to look at the tape and see how much time is actually on the clock. I can't remember. But
on the play clock or just like the regular clock?
The game clock.
I think it was 16 seconds. I could be. It was like under 20. I'm pretty sure.
16 seconds. You got no timeouts, and you're going to run the ball. If that ball doesn't go in, it's game over. Unless you can get together quickly and set that ball up, but you're not going to get another chance. Yeah. You may get 3 shots, and you can still run it. You can still run it on third down because you only need a second.
Amen.
Yeah. I mean, I guess worst come to worst.
Like you could. Okay, this is how I do it. I'm going to pass. I'm going to play action pass, and then I'm going to go run.
Yep.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yep.
If I don't get it in, then I don't deserve to get it in.
Facts. And it's not like the Bucs had a overwhelming, strong offensive line. We didn't have all our starters in, so why would you even want to take that risk?
Dude,
yeah.
We'll less said about Byron Leftwich, probably the better. But just to finish off, we always talk about this. That Steelers game.
Oh my God, that was one of the worst things ever.
People on the street playing DB. There's probably me and my team playing DB for them, and all of a sudden, what we're going to do? We're just keep running it. We're just going to keep running it. Why? Because TJ Watt is out, a guy who's known for pass rushing.
Right, yeah. And then you send him against Hayward, who is great at stopping the run. Makes no sense. Make it make sense.
I can't.
I can't. And there's a reason he doesn't have a job in the NFL.
That's right, and that's another reason why Brady fans want this, because we know at the end of the day it wasn't all Brady's fault. No, Byron and the coaching just screwed us. But at the end of the day, it's done. Metaphorically speaking, guys, we closed it. We closed.
Yeah,
it's out. It's done for business. So the Brady shit is over. But Buck fans and Brady fans. But for you Brady fans, the shit is over. It's done.
Yeah, and also please get out of a fan base and go back to rooting for your own teams, please.
Look, not gonna lie, I kind of want them to go away just so the ticket sales can go down. I remember Bucks tickets, you could get good deals for good amount, and then when Brady came to town, all of a sudden games were sold out. But I did like the fact that people were getting recognized. Levante David was finally getting some damn press. Like, oh wow, he's actually this good. Look at these numbers. Oh, Mike Evans, he's still not getting the respect deserved. But we'll talk about that later. But
Although
you had
apparently
other
Devin White is
players.
still better than
Yeah,
Levante.
yeah, but the thing is, the Bucks were finally getting shine. Vita Vea finally was getting the recognition that he deserves because
That Buccaneers team got his love.
yes,
Scotty Miller got his love.
yes.
Oh,
So
remember when he
Miller
lost the tooth? Like, God,
yes,
people
Scotty Miller
loved
has been
him.
cemented in Bucks history. Scotty Miller, put it that way, that play is probably the second greatest. The second greatest Buck play. The first greatest Buck play will always be Rondé Barber running down the fucking field. That is the greatest Bucks play in
Of
history.
all time.
Oh, yeah,
of all time.
And it's the
exact, and then that shit right there.
yeah,
That is the great.
And then in the interview, fuck the Pro Bowl. I'm going to the Super Bowl.
Yes,
That was
he said, I'm going to San Diego. I love that shit. So that's the greatest. But Scotty cemented himself with that play because nobody knew who Scotty Miller was before Brady. That catch, that was basically a Patriots awakening for fans. That's some shit that we would have seen in him throwing it to Edelman or Hogan.
I was going to say Edelman. That's like an Edelman guy right there.
Yeah, exactly. So Brady coming in was great. Dude isn't coming. He's about to come in. Dude been waiting patiently. Dude, what you got to say, dude? Come on and get up in here.
I think we.
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
Man.
Hey, it works now when you unmute it. Tom Brady can stay away from Tampa. Thank you so much, Goat. But here's the thing, man. We saw that offense last year, man. That was yours and Byron. Myron? Was it Myron? Byron's offense. And it was basically ready, set, huck, throw the ball, duck. Someone's out there. Mike Evans down there somewhere.
Run the ball up the middle in the entirety of the first half and then give up on the run game.
Exactly. And emphasis on the Bucs gave it up a lot last year, and that's all we're going to say about that. We asked a little earlier about Baker or Trask. Is it pretty much a foregone conclusion? Is it Baker?
It's Baker. It's Baker.
I think the coaches think that there's a real competition, but I think the players know it's Baker. I'll be honest, I did kind of want it to be Trask just so the Buccaneers can draft a franchise quarterback because, I think the last one was Doug Williams?
Yeah, well, we draft them or we sign them and then we send them to other teams to win Super Bowls. Doug Williams, Trent Dilfer.
Well, none of those other. Doug Williams was the only one that was good on the team. Like even Steve Young wasn't good.
Exactly. No. Trent Dilfer was ass. We know that. He
was still bad.
He went from one good defense to the next. That's all.
I think the problem with the Buccaneers and their quarterback battle, as they call it, competition, is Baker Mayfield, for all of his faults, he comes in with, as you've heard in the media from the players, he has that swag, he has that personality. And let's be honest, Kyle Trask is the mayonnaise of quarterbacks. Like, tell me something he said that made you go, oh, or hey, it just doesn't happen.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, he just because I actually wrote about that at one point because Baker Mayfield was at one point popping a beer with Rays fans in the stands with Tristan Wirfs. And I think it was Cody Monk. It was one of the three gingers on our team with long hair. It was one of those. But it was I just remember writing, it's where's Kyle Trask? Why isn't he doing this? Even Baker Mayfield, when the Lightning were in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Baker Mayfield released a video with him holding a Stamkos jersey, and Kyle Trask was just 2 years, he hasn't done anything. Not that I blame him.
That's a really good point, Darren. I love that.
Carrying all that equipment in after practice is hard work, man.
Yeah,
He's out there polishing up them balls.
It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, he's a quiet guy, but even still, like, you have to do something. Like, because you have to. Like, the media is important. Like, getting.
Who do you think's putting all those logos on the new Bucko Bruce helmet, man? Come on.
Damn. Oh God. Yeah,
but no, you're absolutely right. Like a lot of players, you want to be seen in the community. You know, Tom Brady was extremely high profile. He probably didn't do it as much, but he made his presence out in other ways. And obviously Gronk did his thing. You know, he went to the zoo and he did these things too. So for someone like Kyle Trask not to do as much, and I'm with you, Devin. I want Trask to win. I really do. And mine is more of a financial situation because if Baker has a great season, we're not re-signing all of our star free agents. We're just not because
we have to give him a real contract.
He's going to get a Geno Smith-esque contract, which is $35 million. Guaranteed. There's no discussion about it. I mean, they might be able to milk a hometown discount or whatever, but he is staying for about 30-something million. Then you got to pay Devin White. Then you got to pay Antoine Winfield, and then you got to go and pay Tristan Wirfs. One of those is the weakest link, and we all know who that is.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know.
I don't want to make names.
We know. I'm not naming
two of those guys have just signed, redid their contracts to allow the Buccaneers to have more spending money, which puts voidable years on their contracts, which means if they don't get re-signed next year, the Buccaneers are in even more cap hell. And those two are Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield.
And that's the scary thing.
It's been nice knowing you, Devin White.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, and those two guys we just mentioned, they're always ascending. Tristan Wirfs is always ascending. Antoine Winfield will always ascend. Hell, if Tristan Wirfs plays average left tackle, he's getting money.
It would still play better than Donovan Smith.
Exactly, but that's the worst.
Hi, Chris.
I'm so confident in Tristan. He'd be average is the worst case. The best scary case scenario is that if he plays left tackle like he does right tackle, he's gonna be the highest signed left tackle.
Oh, he's gonna be the highest paid Buccaneer in
exactly. And then Antoine Winfield is gonna have another breakout. He might have a damn near defensive player of the year type.
Yeah, if he plays free safety the whole year and is healthy, I think he's getting it.
It's a wrap, and that's what I'm saying. Now you got two great problems, like Slick just said. Devin, I'm sorry, you weren't on here, Mr. Devin, but I was talking about Devin White. I said if he wants $100 million, he'd have to have an astronomical historical.
He'd have to have the 2020 the 2020 playoffs, like every single game.
Interceptions, though, I think, to really kind of solidify who he is. He needs some interceptions and pass breakups to really solidify.
He just needs to play pass coverage.
Exactly. He would need to give me 8 interceptions, 3 of them pick sixes.
He needs to give me prime Levante David for 1 year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying? The stats would be he'd have to have astronomical shit. 11 sacks, 8 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles. That's the $100 million that I'm looking for, and I can confidently say we won't see that from him just because Wirfs and Winfield have a better. Their ceiling is higher at this point. We just talked about Wirfs.
This is Winfield is better. Go ahead, Devin.
I was gonna say, I think, out of all 3 of those guys, I mean, Wirfs and Winfield, barring some catastrophe, they've already shown to be better. I would still say Winfield is better, even when Devin White was playing on fire.
Ooh, that's a hot take right there. I like that.
I'd say you're not far wrong. I think they were a similar level, but I only say what I say is because, and this is only because if Baker has a great season. If Baker doesn't have a great season, the Buccaneers will sign whoever they want and they'll draft a quarterback. That's fact. What's going to happen? If he sucks, they will draft a quarterback and they'll try and re-sign all 3. But what I'm trying to say is 2 of those guys have manipulated their contracts to a point where they have voidable years. And we know that voidable years, if they leave, count against the cap, which means it's in their best interest to get it's in the team's best interest to get re-signed, which means they are guaranteed. You may as well guarantee, because no one's going to cough up millions of dollars for a player not on their team, especially if 2 of them walk. I mean, we took a bit of a bite this year when we let Will Gulston go, which I was surprised at considering.
Yeah, I would have liked to keep him.
Absolutely, but he had voidable years. He was like 4 million, 3 million against this year's cap. And just by not re-signing him, you lose 3 million against your cap. you don't actually lose $3 million, but your cap is reduced by $3 million. So the other guys, Wirfs and Antoine Winfield, they've upped their contracts, but they've got voidable years. So if they go and walk to whichever team, insert team's name here, we're still not paying them, but we're still feeling cap repercussions of them not being with the team. So they're going to get re-signed. It speaks in volumes that they didn't speak. Well, we don't know, but I'm gonna go on a limb. It speaks in volumes that they didn't speak to Devin White about doing that with his contract, which gets him a guaranteed signed contract to a degree.
Yeah. Did they pick up his 5th year option? I can't remember.
Yeah. This year is his 5th year.
That's what I thought. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So we already know the upsides of our players, and this is why the Bucs we closed that Brady chapter, because we see more upside in the future with Bakers of the world now, because we got a mobile quarterback. Devin, we didn't have that last year. With the mobile quarterback,
that's one way of putting it.
Yeah, with the mobile quarterback, your playbook opens, and Canales has a lot more to work with and a lot more he can adjust with. So that's why I'm okay to say with the Brady, we already talked about it. The Brady era was fantastic, but now let's look at the Baker era. For all we know, the Baker era can extend the Bucs back to progress.
I honestly, I don't think the division is out of sight. I don't know about like Super Bowl, but like if the Buccaneers aren't like contending for the division, then there's something seriously wrong. Like we're playing the AFC South, the NFC North, arguably the 2 worst other divisions besides the one the Buccaneers are in, the NFC South.
Yeah.
Like really, like AFC South and NFC North, they have one good team each, and that's kind of debatable.
Yeah,
I mean, the Lions are pretty good. Jags are pretty good. And then it's like,
but they were still 9-8.
Where do you sit with Minnesota? Other than that, it's like you said, it's done. So that's 3
Minnesota,
teams.
they're blowing it up.
Teams, right? You say lose to those 3 teams for the sake of argument. Let's make it. I'm a big fan of worst case scenario and build from worst case. So that means from those 2 teams, you've got 3 wins in the AFC South. You've got 2 wins in the NFC North, and then you've got our own games, which is 6. Let's say we split them and we go 3. Guys, that's 8 wins already.
Yeah, when I did my schedule breakdown, I basically had us beating all of the like just awful teams. Like I basically said Texans win, Bears win. I went on a limb with the Vikings because they still had Dalvin Cook, but now I'm even more confident that they can beat the Vikings. Because it's like you shut down Justin Jefferson, and what happens? What can that offense do?
Yeah.
No Adam Thielen.
No Adam Thielen. They have Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, and I don't know.
You can lock up Justin Jefferson, double cover. He's going to get his. Don't get me wrong. Justin Jefferson is very special. He will get his, but he won't. You can't win a game on just one guy who's being doubled.
And if you force it to Justin, that actually can hurt Justin, because now you got turnover.
Antoine Winfield sleeps underneath.
First of all, I'm putting Carlton on him, and then Antoine. Carlton is physical enough. Carlton actually shut him down the last time.
Because we played Jefferson in 2020.
And Carlton Davis had him on lock. And then if he gets past him, he doesn't want to take a hit from Antoine Winfield. He doesn't want to get. And remember, Winfield can cover too. Winfield, he might pick him off. So I said this, Devin. I count the Vikings as a win. I don't see enough in them.
I'm not scared of them. They're blowing it up like they were the Buccaneers last year. Like they didn't make. I mean, obviously their wins were kind of fluky, but even still, like they made the playoffs with the 12-5 record, and they're like, well, it's rebuilding. It's rebuilding time. Kirk Cousins out. Dalvin Cook already out of here.
I have to say that Kirk Cousins in that documentary, The Quarterback, I really like him. He's a dude. I got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes, but I heard it just gets kind of like Mahomes, like propaganda heavy. So I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it.
I don't think so, because it follows them as far as they go. So obviously Marcus Mariota kind of falls short quite quick because he's.
Yeah, I did hear like they didn't address like him being benched like they could have.
They do, but they do it in a really like kind of odd way. Like it's kind of made like, if you know football, which obviously all 3 of us here probably do, it's the way they go about it. So they're like, they show all these clips of them asking Arthur, the head coach, where is he? And we don't know. Okay. Well, and they cut to him, and he's like on a fucking beach in Hawaii, and he's like, oh, you know, my daughter was born and I got a bad knee, and you know, I thought it'd be best for me to leave. And I'm like, hang on, I know how fucking football works, dude. You need to have their medical team either clear you as ineligible to play, which means you'll be put on IR. And second, on top of that, I respect the fact you have a child. Got two myself. I respect it. However, you are the leader of this fucking football team. Your job is to get the next dude ready to fucking play. You don't fucking flake out. I'm sorry, I don't care. You got a bad knee, fair enough. We should have heard that you had your bad knee. You got cleared as illegible to play. You went on an IR. You signed an IR deal, which is what you're supposed to do. And then you go and help. You can either piss off or you go and help out your dude. Which is, if you're looking for another contract, which he did get, bless him. God knows why. Probably because he's like a very, very poor man's version of where'd he go? Philadelphia. So he's a poor man's version of their quarterback. So
yeah, because Jalen Hurts can actually throw the ball. Even though I hate the Eagles and I wish Jalen Hurts was bad, he has learned to throw the football. So you know,
exactly. So they address it, but it's kind of like I'm sat here like I don't know, like, and he's like, yeah, you know, I had a bad knee and I couldn't go, and I'm like,
it really felt like they needed to send the police after him. Like they were like, it was like he's wanted or something because it's like they just announced Desmond Ritter. It's like what happened?
Politics. They all just say
he got benched, didn't like it, pissed off, and decided.
That definitely happened.
That's fine. Yeah. I get it, but at the same time, don't piss on my foot and tell me it's fucking raining, because I know how this shit works. You're supposed to get cleared by the fucking team, by the team's doctors, to say that you're eligible to play, that you need surgery. You'll go get said surgery. You'll be signed on to IR, and then you can go and do what you want to do. Now, the added bonus is if you stick around with the team, that's considered respect. It shows that you are a team player. You didn't. So that tells me you fucking cried like a little bitch and fucking ran your grey ass hair back to fucking Hawaii, cried about it to your missus, and raised your child. Good for you.
Hey, I feel like they would have re-signed him to be a backup and not Taylor Heineke if he handled that a little bit better. Because, like, honestly, you can't tell me Taylor Heineke. I love Taylor Heineke, but I don't think he's better than Marcus Mariota.
I look at it like this.
I think he's got the moxie. I think that's the thing that he has. He has something.
He's poor man's Brett Favre, but
yeah. And some guys, when you fall from grace that low, just think about it. This was Mariota and Winston were tied to be the verses of who would be the better one, and neither lived up to the hype. And Mariota,
but now it's still a fucking stalemate. The only difference, and they're still both employed, so it's not like no one's winning that war anytime soon. I mean, you can split it down.
I'll give Jameis
playoff games. The other one hasn't.
I'll give Jameis this. Like, his time with Sean Payton, he did look like the player he should have been until Devin White kind of ended his career, like, for real.
I look at it like this. He just went from a team that was loaded to a team that was on their way out. So Winston just couldn't catch a break. He's always on a team where they're on the come up or they're about to be out. The Saints are about to be they're a toilet shitty team. Yay. So that's good. That's always good. I don't mind that. So I'm all for it. But I want to get into this because I'm glad we're talking about these things. You were talking about Dalvin Cook. You were talking about Fournette. We were talking about the running backs who are still unemployed. And the way the game is now, we have entered an era where I never thought I'd hear this. Is the running backs value in jeopardy in this era of football? Devin, I want you to start. What's going on?
I mean, I think some teams, they're looking at like the Chiefs or the Eagles, and it's like the Chiefs just don't have a running game. But even more than that, it's like the guy they have, they found him in the 7th round. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like they drafted him. What was that? The Super Bowl pick, the 32nd?
No, yes, it was.
And it's like he was just. I mean, he wasn't terrible, but like he wasn't like I was gonna say he looks just like JTS does for us. But it's like, they found that guy in the 7th. So it's like, I think, and then Eagles, like, I don't even know who the running backs are, but it doesn't even matter because one thing, the offensive line, I would argue it's the best in the NFL. Like, it's just like, it's so good. So it's like, they could put me behind there and I could probably get like 3 yards or something.
I can dig it. So yeah, okay.
So it's like I think teams see that and it's like they look at the Chiefs as like, well, I mean, one thing, Patrick Mahomes is good enough. Like he can just do everything. Like he doesn't need to run like Jalen Hurts does.
yeah.
So it's like they don't need a running game. And then Jalen Hurts and then whoever the Eagles have, they're just it's so diverse. Like, did any of their running backs even get 1,000 rushing yards last season?
Who are we talking?
The Eagles.
I don't
Because
think so.
Miles Sanders would have.
Give me a minute. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I was about to say, he'll
Give
I
me a
think
minute.
the only one could have been Miles Sanders.
I don't think nobody did, but I like to piggyback what you were saying, Devin. This is what I think. If the running backs can't complement the passing game in this era, it's a lost cause. If you cannot catch out of the backfield or you're not a pass blocking running back, it's going to be futile. We've already discussed this before. No championships have been necessarily won off the legs of a running back because of how finite you can be at your position. Because let's be real, that the running backs take so much bulk of hits and they wear down a lot faster. So in this era and the way the game has been set up with the rules, it's almost like they are getting pushed out. But if you don't complement the game as a pass blocker or catching out the backfield, it does hurt your chances. And this is why I've always said, I'm telling you, Devin, I've told this, it's like I've said Marshall Faulk was so ahead of his time, it was ridiculous. That's why to me he's a top 5. That man showed you. Now people
In
will
this
say
day and age, wow.
in his age is in the age of where bruising North and South was law as a running back. People will say Roger Craig was the first. I disagree. I just think he had Steve Young and Joe Montana. Marshall Faulk is the epitome of what a well-rounded back was. I can catch, I can block, and I can run between the tackles. Now, you had Barry Sanders as well, so I can't throw that out there. But Marshall Faulk, to me, completed the game of what the quarter Marshall Faulk is what we have today of running backs. If you can't be that dynamic, you can't be a North and South guy anymore. That's why Leonard is unemployed.
Okay, so you wanted to know? Miles Sanders had 1,269 yards.
Well, I actually didn't realize it was that much. I thought it was less.
The second person to gain good yardage on the ground was Jalen Hurts.
I was gonna say it had to be Jalen, right? Because who's behind Miles Sanders? Boston Scott and
Kenneth Gainwell had 240.
Gainwell.
And then it was Boston Scott. The yardage isn't too different. Give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a similar amount of downs and stuff. So, but
I'm just thinking of Miles Sanders' Super Bowl performance. Maybe that's why I thought it was a little bit less.
Yeah. No. He did have a solid season because that was one thing that a lot of people were talking about the Eagles is that their run game was they had a well balanced offense.
Yeah, so, it wasn't. They weren't just necessarily running it down people's throats. It's just when they did run, it was just so effective.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
But I will say, like the teams that do, like there are some teams that do rely on the running backs more. Like you can't tell me like the Titans, their game plan isn't because like Derrick Henry is not known for his catching ability. Like he's probably more known for him throwing touchdowns than him catching passes. Like no one's scared of Derrick Henry like catching a pass. But it's like that man still, like, I would argue, deserves like the money that he got. Like, whatever, I can't remember what his second contract was, but I know it was good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and then it's like, there's some teams that look like they need to rely on the running back more. Like, I would argue the Bucs might need to rely a little bit more on the run game, because I think Baker needs that and Kyle Trask needs that. But it's like also the Colts, I think, are going to trend more in that direction. So it's like teams like that, it's like you do kind of, like those teams do need somebody like Dalvin Cook. But it's like even if they're not the most dynamic, they need somebody. And like 2024, it gets even more insane. Like you have Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, and Saquon Barkley are going to be free agents, technically. Like, I would imagine, like, the Giants especially probably want to re-sign Saquon, but the fact that they didn't, it's just like, that's insane.
I mean, my opinion on the whole Saquon situation is you can overpay on a running back because it's only going to be a couple of mil, right? So let's say the argument, I think the baseline of a high-end running back contract is about $12 million. So let's say you pay him $13.5 million, 4 years, 2 years fully guaranteed, third year half of it guaranteed, fourth year none of it guaranteed. You can kind of shed his contract in year 3 because you're only paying half of it if he's bad. Instead, you decide to pay $35 million plus a year to a quarterback who, quote unquote, isn't that great, realistically. Yeah. Saquon Barkley is a very good running back. He is, and that's a fact. There is no difference about it. Daniel Jones isn't a good quarterback. He just isn't.
I think in the right situation, he can be average. I think last season, like, he was barely above competence.
Right.
But it's like, who's more important to this team?
Because you paying an extra $2 million, like that $2 million that extra $2 million you got to pay to overpay Saquon. You could just turn around and go and find out what is Derrick Henry earning and reduce it by a little bit. That's basically what I would do. I'd say whatever he's earning, I'm going to take $1 million off it, because are you King Henry? And his agent's going to go, no, but no. Are you King Henry?
Or
and any of your years beat King Henry's, and he'll go, no. Fuck up and take the money.
Yeah, because I mean, like, who's more important to that
how
team?
I would do it. And I'm a very brash person, but that's how I would do it. Instead, they decide to overpay the quarterback, and that $2 million that I said you could overpay by becomes closer to $5 or $8 million, and you do that over a course of years. You're out. Your potential out is like year 3. Married to a quarterback with a big salary is a scary proposition, because that's $35 million, and then then half of $35 million. What we're talking, $17 million, which is the price it costs for a full year with Saquon Barkley.
It costs $4 more million, according to what you said.
Exactly. So that's the point. It made no sense. It's like, why not?
Well,
go ahead.
The only reason they did that is because basically, I think they thought they were tanking. Like, I think they knew that Brian Daboll was a good coach, but I think they thought that they could get one of the good quarterbacks. So, like, they didn't pick up Daniel Jones's 5th-year option, probably because they didn't think he would play well enough to deserve it. And then, like, once they ended the season and Daniel Jones actually looked, like, he didn't look great, but, like, the fact that he turned down his interceptions, it was like, well, we are in the playoffs. We won a playoff game. Unless we draft Will Levis, we're not getting a quarterback.
Well, the argument is, why don't you just switch? This is where I was going with it. Why don't you just switch what you did? You pay the back, and you put him to the pen, because no one's going to sign him. You can even put him on one of those ones where people can shop him and go, "Hey, dude, how about you come and sign with us?"
Lamar Jackson.
If no one's going to sign Lamar Jackson and put an offer sheet for him, he definitely ain't going to put it in for Daniel Jones. So you can guarantee that you're not going to overpay for him. And that's 1 year. You get to see one more year of Daniel Jones. Can he do it? That means you've got consistency. You already know that Saquon Barkley is consistently a good quarterback. The only thing stopping him is injury. That's it. It's not talent.
He really bounced back, but, like, he tore his ACL. Like, it was last year, right? Or the year before.
It's a guy like, but another thing people also consider, Saquon don't have a line either. Like, when he first got in the league, and even now, like, he's doing the best he can with what he can. He's those running backs that I mentioned that are good with or without a line.
Yeah.
So that puts a lot more pressure, but that's what we're saying. So guys, again, with the running back situation, it's looking dire. Some of these guys, they're not getting those big dollars like they used to.
I was going to say what I said in that chat, AJ.
Do it. Say it. I think so.
Okay, running backs. You're getting paid less. I understand. It's shit. It sucks. Where were your tears when the fullbacks' money went down? Fullback were the fucking position in football. Larry Sonka, Mike Allstott. These names were big. Do you know how much they make now? High-end fullback. That Kyle just something. I don't know what the last name is. It's Polish looking. So I will not go there in front. Juszczyk. There you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the 49ers guy, right?
The 49ers guy. He's on $4 million a year, and he is ridiculously paid for his position. Everyone else gets less than $1 million to $1 million, or $1 million and a bit.
I think I can name 2 teams off the top of my head that have a fullback that they actually utilize, and the other one is the Vikings. I think Kyle Ham.
There you go.
Yep, and I know what Slick is saying. He's saying, where was that energy
Where,
for the fullbacks?
where
Yeah, now
were
you
the
see
teams when you
CMC.
absorb their contracts and then we don't need these fullbacks anymore. We'll just use the utility version of a running back that can do run, patch, catch, do everything. They can block, they can do this, they can do that. We don't need this guy who just sits there, and we can now shed him off and have an extra wide receiver or the tight end. So someone else's contracts got larger because the fullbacks of the world were getting paid less. So my argument is, if you didn't have tiers for them, I'm not got tiers for you. It sucks. It really does. But it is what it is. And that's football. If you don't like it, you can always convert to another position. Guess what those fullbacks had to? Because a lot of them now get to the league and they might go to a power offense in college, come out of that power offense, and they'll be like, all right, I'm ready. Agent, what do you think? You're probably going undrafted, mate. What? Yeah, you're going undrafted. Oh. But if you're really lucky, you might get 7th round. So quit crying. You're not 7th round. You're still being picked second quite often, and some of you even get in the 1st round. It sucks. I get it. But here's the issue.
And the thing is, and you're right, Slick, because another thing that their agent will tell the fullbacks, hey, what do you think about playing tight end? What?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can do that. Hey, yeah. How about that? You don't have necessarily the speed to be a receiving tight end, but you can be a blocker. But here's the thing. It's different trying to block a DN or a nose tackle than to block a linebacker or a corner or safety. So you're right. The fullback was an lost art. You had the Renzo Neals of the world. And I get it. It's business. Just like all positions, you have to adapt. But this is where, again, we talked about the rules of the game is making things less interesting. We don't always want a damn passing fucking game. I want to see quarterbacks be in fear of getting hit, because that is a mental part of the game. That is why the Brett Favres of the world. There was a time, guys, I remember going to the Super Bowl twice was considered a fucking anomaly. You were the man just getting there twice. If you got there more than twice, or if you got 3, you were among the football gods. That's why Joe Montana is always revered as the greatest, because he played in one of the hardest eras of football, where and Troy Aikmans of the world. People don't realize it was so much harder back then because a quarterback could get fucked up, and the passing game was not where everybody couldn't just run free. So that's why running backs, I mentioned it earlier, you better learn how to catch. Slick said it. Tough titty. You want to get paid? You better block. You want to get paid? You better start getting some hands, like you said with Derrick Henry. Because you
motion them out to that into an empty, motion them out from this, motion them out to that. Play with it. That's what they want to see. They want to see versatility, because this whole old school, like we talk about these teams that have great running games. You said that there are teams out there that like the running back, like the Tennessee Titans.
And the Falcons.
What happens when they get to playoff time? They go against teams that have run defenses. Run defense, because you can go to Cleveland, or you can go to Jacksonville, or you can go to the Colts or whoever and just run through them because their defense is so shit. When you get to the playoffs, everyone's got a decent run defense, which means you can't live off the run anymore. You now have to. What's your game plan? If you're a game planner, what's your game plan to beat the beat the Titans? Stop the run, force their quarterback to throw.
And then the quarterback proceeds to throw 3 interceptions.
Exactly. That's what it is. Make them do what they don't want to do, because that's Coach Bobby Bowden of FSU. I read a book on him, and one of his things he said when he was speaking to a rookie coach would be that asked him this question, this exact question: How do I stop their offense? How do I stop their How do I beat their defense? Find out what they're really, really good at. Stop it. Sounds simple. Stop it and make them do what they don't like to do, because when you do what you haven't rehearsed or you don't do as well, the confidence of the players isn't there, because they don't believe in these plays, because guess what? They believe in those plays that have been working. They don't believe in those plays that don't. So if you're a run-first football team, you don't practice your passing offense. Your wide receivers don't run those routes quite as sexy. There's less belief in what they can do. The quarterback doesn't believe in what he can do because he's so used to having that safety valve. that's when you can really go to town on a team. Now, sometimes it does what, they figure it out. But when it comes to playoff time, when defenses are so much better, that's where they fall short. You can go to Cleveland and they stop your run defense, your run game, and you rely on your pass game a bit more because they might not have a great defense in general. And I pick on Cleveland. I don't really know how bad they are or how good they are, but I'm just using a historically bad team.
No, you're right though. You are absolutely right, and that's why in the playoffs, shit goes south against running when you rely on the run.
Look at the 2021 Eagles. They went against the Buccaneers and they proceeded to just die on the field.
Yes.
Like all of a sudden they couldn't run the ball, and then it's like, well, Jalen Hurts is throwing 43 times and it's not going too well.
Nope. And when your running backs cannot block a pass rush, that's a big problem because that's what the league is building on. That's why you have a lot of fast pass rushing linebackers now or DNs because they're everything is predicated on the pass now. So these backs are going to have to find a way. And if you're going to be a north and south runner, you better be the best of the best. You better be able to, like, the Nick Chubbs of the world is what remind me of north and south. That's a north and south guy. He lives in, but he can also adjust. And he has gotten better in the passing game. But if you're not a Nick Chubb or to a certain extent where you're just going to dominate it, then you're right. Running backs, you're in a world, you better get ready. The days of the world. And I think because in the past, they're looking at, why the hell am I going to pay all this money? I forgot the Rams running back. He was drafted.
Oh, Todd Gurley?
Yeah, Gurley.
Okay.
Gurley's a prime example. You gave him all that money, and then God forbid, unfortunately, he got hurt. But now the franchise is stuck. Well, shit. Marion Barber, rest in peace. When he got his money, he flapped. A lot of backs, you burn out faster.
It is a curse, though. Like, there's like the joke, like the minute the running back gets a second contract, like it's like either they fall off a cliff or they're just injured. Like the only one really was Derrick Henry, who stayed consistent after the second, like CMC. Second he signs that second contract, I think like something happens. I don't think he tore his ACL, but it was like something kind of serious.
Yes,
but
you're right.
You also remember the Carolina Panthers ran him.
Yes.
Because that's all they had.
That was the main issue.
He is a pass first dude. Like he's a complement to you. He's part of your run game. But you want someone to be your bow cow running back that you almost like a 1-2 piece. He needs that. And don't get me wrong, the Carolina Panthers were really good with their run game. What happened? They went against a couple of teams in their division, being the Saints and the Bucs, that could stop the run really well. So they had nothing else, and that it just kills you off.
Yeah, that's why he's so good in San Francisco, because he can work with oh god, why did I just forget his name? Not Mostert.
Oh, Mostert.
Yeah, and
no,
the head coach.
But they
Kyle
also, yeah, and they also have Trent Williams, the best left tackle in the game too. So it takes the load off him. Here's the CMC was more of a pass catching running back. He's not a bell cow, or
he can do it.
He's not a workhorse.
Yeah.
You're gonna put.
Like he can't do that every single game.
No,
like,
you're gonna tread a lot of miles off those tires because his body isn't designed for that. Derrick Henry is designed to go north and south. Nick Chubb designed to go north and south. Guys like CMC and even Kamara. Kamara could do it, but he didn't want to because when playoffs came, his body was worn out. That's why for backs, you have to, in this era of football.
Also, you want to use your crappy running back or your second choice at the beginning of the season and then get your other guy mid-season, like really going. Right. Just because you're not putting the time. It's like when you draft a running back. A lot of the when the NFL talk, well, not the NFL, sorry, when draft scouts are talking about running backs, Wisconsin's one of the places that you go for a running back, right? But then they're starting to look at them and go, you know what? This guy's had like over 500 touches. That means they've been hit 500 times unless they scored a touchdown. So if they've only scored 50 touchdowns in their career and they've had 500 touches, that means they were hit 45 times unless they ran out of bounds. So you put that into perspective. They have been smashed a fair few times because linebackers love hitting those running backs. So that's this is the thing. And just piggying back off the contract of Derrick Henry, he is the richest running back by a landslide of $16.25 million. If you would have turned around to Saquon Barkley and said, "We'll give you $13 million,"
he's taking it.
he'd have taken it.
Yeah, he would have taken it.
He's taking it. He's taking it.
You got to take it. So, and you do that for 4 years, guaranteed, half guaranteed. Half guaranteed is what, $6.5 million. It's not the end of the world. You do that with a quarterback. That's sick. Instead of it being $6.5 million, it's that $35 million. You got to divide that by 2. That's a heck of a lot. That's enough to buy another Saquon Barkley.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying is the problem with the Giants and what they should have flipped it. It should have been the quarterback that signed the tender, and it should have been the running back that got the big deal.
Yeah.
Just based on that, that's just smart business.
Agreed. You're absolutely right. And for the future for backs now, especially your average typical back, you better not expect to make any more between 3 to 7 million, and that's if you're average. The best of the best backs of this next era, 20 million maybe. And then here's the thing.
No one had 20 million though, AJ.
I get it. I'm just saying that you'd have to be a
like
spectacular
10. 10's going to be your magic.
10.
10's your magic number. Elite's going to be like 13.
Yeah. What I mean by that, I'm talking about in totality. Nowadays, 20 million, and now all you can hope for is you can get 12 million of that guaranteed, because I don't even think over 20 million in the next few years is going to happen, because they're going away from it. And we were just talking about it. Why would I put all this money on you and your wheels might fall off in the damn second quarter of the first round of the playoffs? And I put all this money invested in you.
And you built your entire playbook and game around them.
Yep. Now we're screwed, because if this quarterback doesn't have confidence and the receivers don't have, not just because they don't have confidence, because they don't want to do it, they don't know how to. Like you said, they run shitty routes. That's because, well, coach, we only ran 30% of the time. We relied on this motherfucker. And that's what happens to a lot of backs in the past. They will rely on them and ride them into the regular season. I always believe, give me 2 backs. Give me a blunt trauma one, and give me a guy that can suck the wind out of their team.
And make that blunt trauma dude has to be a guy who can chip.
Yes. Well, that was what I was going to say. The third guy, you're definitely going to be my block and chipping guy. That third guy in the passing game, you ain't got to do everything else spectacular, but you damn sure going to be knowing how to block. I'm telling you, that is my philosophy of running backs. You give me your power guy, the speed guy, and then you give me the guy. He might not be as good, but he can do a little bit of both. He can do a little bit of both. Or if you're lucky, you get a guy that can do both as your starter. But that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, running backs, tough luck. You have to get down or lay down. You're gonna have to find a way to adjust. But for right now, just learn how to fucking pass block. Chipping is sexy to me. I don't know why running backs bitch off of that. Devin, I love running back, because my thing is, if you're a good size, like a 5'10" guy, you're low to the center of the earth. That 6'3",
you're hitting that belt buckle.
That 6'3" linebacker.
That thigh pad.
Yes, he has to get lower, but by the time he gets lower, his momentum's gone. Blow him up.
And what size? And what size are most DNs? 6 something.
6 something. 6'3".
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta lean into it, baby.
All I'm thinking about now is Fournette just absolutely destroying Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
That, I mean, you obviously realistically can't be done every single play, but it's something that's useful to have as, like, if you're trying to get a big playoff, like, so you want to, like, you got that money shot down the field or what have you. That is what you need. Unless you have a guy who's so good in the past that you can just zip it to him.
Exactly.
Me and AJ turned around and said, what we would like to see from Leonard Fournette is that fake chip. And they did that too, where he comes in and it looks like, so the defensive end is freezing to go, right, this motherfucker's coming after me. And then he just breaks off into a route and you go, there you go, mate. Cheers.
Yes, it's all about learning how to switch it up, as we just said. Because sometimes that guy might brace for the chip and he fucks around and stops his momentum completely. And then, whoop, oh no, oh damn. And now
walk around and find out.
Yeah, exactly. So running backs, if you can catch out of the backfield and chipping is so important, I think, because now you give your quarterback 2 extra seconds. Like, can you imagine that? And Devin, you were talking about Micah Parsons. Psychologically, linebackers hate when they get folded by running backs, because in their mind,
he bitched about it for days on Twitter.
Yes, because mentally, well, first of all, Micah Parsons is a diva. he mentally doesn't have it here yet. It's his maturity thing. But when linebackers get put on their ass, and mind you, that was national television. That was the opening season of the
Yeah,
game.
that was Sunday night, wasn't it?
Yes,
That was
he was.
day one.
Yes, he was deemed as the damn next LT, which is disrespectful, but that's another conversation. But when those guys get put on their asses, when Micah got put on his ass, he was never the same. The
Not
game,
in that game.
he was taken out of the game by then. Because, like
Maybe.
you said,
Because
Devin,
I
he
think
was
he
too
had
busy
2
worried about
sacks to
Cleveland.
start it, and then he just went.
Because he got humbled. When linebackers get humbled by backs, in their mind, that's not
That should
supposed
never
to happen.
happen.
That should
A
never
big
happen.
guy who's a left tackle or a right tackle who's coming, or even a tight end like Gronk or whatever, like the bigger blocking tight ends. They're like, okay, this guy can't hold me. There's no way a back but a back is a speed bump on my
Yep.
way to the quarterback.
Exactly.
That's how they should be like. So when one puts you on your ass, you're like, well, what?
What the hell happened?
It's unfair. It's unfair. There's some trickery. What witchcraft is this?
Exactly. Yeah. And now they're focusing, instead of getting to the quarterback, now they're trying to just run over that running back. And then it's like, yeah, the game's over now. He's not even thinking about the game. He's thinking about his ego. And that's why when a running back can pass block, it makes the linebacker hesitate now. Like, shit, I can't just run directly at the quarterback, because now I got a running back. I have to learn how to finesse, which will frustrate them, because then he doesn't have to blow him up that one extra second where it's like, damn it, I can't get past him in time. That is what that's going to make running back special, because let's be real, the quarterback is the most important thing. Running backs in the future, I'm telling y'all, right now, your objective is to make your quarterback look good.
I'll say this though: you talk about the blocking running back. Who do you think that is on like the Buccaneers? Because I'll look at it. I'm honestly not too sure like who would do that.
No, I don't think we have one complete yet. I did like Keyshawn Vaughn. Keyshawn
Vaughn can do it. I just don't know if he can do it consistently. That's the only difference.
No,
I guess he would be, because it's definitely. I don't think it's Rashad White. It's definitely
Rashad. He's the receiving guy. He's
gonna be the receiver. I think he could chip. I just don't think he'd be great at it.
I don't think he would be great at it either.
No, he's the guy though that could do the fake chip and roll out. And if Rashad White does that, like Slick said, that would be devastating, because Rashad got the quickness. So imagine a guy doing a fake for that, and it's the third quarter, and he's tired and he's gassed. And now it's, oh, damn, I got to turn around and catch Rashad White. And Rashad is not just speed. He got some trucking in him, too. So now, so I do think that Rashad White, we should get somebody else who can do so. But right now, I just want the Bucs to have a run game.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I just want them to go from 30 seconds. If they can get to 20, I will say, Canals, you're the
I was gonna say 15th to 20th. Like, I'm popping champagne to Dave Canals. I'm like, good job, you did it.
Yes, me too. Hell yes. So running backs. Final word for me for the backs, guys. Catch and block. CAB. Catch and block. Catch
and block. And just to piggyback off that, if the Buccaneers had to make a free agent acquisition with a plethora of backs that are available, who do you see the Buccaneers going for? Really?
I feel like Josh Jacobs would be a little bit risky, but I think they would take him just because he's younger than Pollard and Saquon. But if it was just like pure skill level, I would say I would go with Saquon Barkley.
We can't afford Saquon. I would love to have Saquon on the Bucs.
But yeah, like, I'm ignoring salary cap constraints. If it was the salary cap, then it would probably only be Pollard realistically that we could afford.
Hell yes.
Pollard, like, not that he's bad. I think he's very good, but Pollard's he was technically the number 2 guy until this year.
Yeah, no, Pollard. To me, Pollard was better than Ezekiel.
A lot of people saw that, except Jerry Jones.
He's explosive. I just like Pollard's explosive. He would complement Rashad White very well in Tampa if that would happen.
He had 3 receiving touchdowns last year.
They can still, all 3 of those guys that we just mentioned can still sign their tags, so they're not really on the thing. The real people on the market right now is probably Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott.
I'll take Dalvin.
Oh, I thought you meant for something. I thought you meant next year. So.
Oh, next year. I mean, I try not to think about next year until next year is closer.
Facts. If anything,
We got a season ahead of us, and we get someone to complement it in. I mean, Dalvin Cook was always the back that I think the Buccaneers wanted.
Yeah.
It just never happened. For whatever.
I mean, I still think like if they drafted him instead of OJ Howard, then I think
I mean, realistically, they could have just.
They could have probably made the playoffs in
They could have
2019.
traded back and still got him and got additional picks.
I
think that's the thing. If they would have drafted Dalvin Cook that early, obviously we know what Dalvin Cook looks like now, right?
So they probably would have been laughed at.
And this is NFL hindsight, which is a beautiful thing. Realistically, picking where we did at 19, a running back, I think a lot of people would be happy with it, but there are also a lot of people going, a running back at 19? Really?
Yeah. Because, I mean, obviously a lot of Bucs fans, I mean, they remember, like, they're obviously almost all of them FSU fans or USF fans.
Yeah, but you got to be, and that's what I'm saying. It's the hometown syndrome, because people were saying the same shit at first about when we took Vita Vea over Derwin. I guarantee you, Buck fans like, you know what? I'm glad they got Vita Vea.
I was one of them. I will hold my hands up. I was one of them.
Oh, Lord.
Well, everyone remembers, like, everyone in the NFL was like...
Okay. No. When I saw
we haven't had a good safety in fucking forever.
I know, but damn it, I was like, Vita Vea.
Sometimes you get proven wrong, and I've never said I know everything.
No.
Well,
everyone be proven wrong.
Pretty much everyone in the NFL was still eating their words when they all said that Jameis Winston was the smart choice at number one.
No one was the smart choice. That's the thing. That was a first season for quarterbacks. There's not one quarterback that's come out of that fucking class that's any good.
That's the thing that like everyone is like, Jameis is the guy. Like he's the Heisman. Like look at that offense in FSU. Like the Bucs made a smart choice.
Well, that's because he played like pro level like scheme.
Yeah,
so
he played in a pro offense.
The
translation would have been smoother.
Yeah, so that's why. And besides, we were just looking for hope. And a lot of draft classes have that. You got certain draft classes where they thought that things were going to be the greatest, and then it's like, oh shit. That's why Slick said, hindsight now, we can say that now, but back then nobody knew. But one thing that people do know. Let's shift it. Anybody got any final says for the running backs? I got mine. Adjust.
Commiseration. I don't know. It's like, look, I got nothing against the position. I started off when I first started playing. I wanted to play running back. That's what I wanted to do. I couldn't catch, so I was like, I can definitely take the ball and I'll go and hit somebody. But my coach wanted somebody who could catch the ball too, so I ended up turning to defense and playing corner and safety. So I've never looked back since, because I've been a defensive backs coach and now and defensive coordinator, and then back into a defensive backs coach. So
nothing wrong.
It worked out fine for me.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Any last words for the backs, Devin?
I mean, all I'd say is basically what everyone said. Like, I think running backs do need to become more dynamic. Like, unless you are Derrick Henry, like you're just not going to get away with only being good at running the ball.
My man. Well, this is the final topic of the night, and this is a juicy one, y'all. We gotta talk about the dumb shit that Madden is going crazy over. We gotta stop. Look, I'm gonna get a petition in. I'm gonna be like, look, who the hell is giving these ranks? If they were born after 97, I can't take you serious. Listen to this shit. Justin, we got the rankings. Justin Jefferson, 99. Tyreek Hill, 98. Devontae Adams, 97. Stephon Diggs, 96. Cooper Kupp, 96. Now, Jamar Chase, 94. Hopkins, 93. Terry McLaurin, 92.
That's the biggest one.
The biggest one for me is Cooper. But look, Mike Evans is a 90. So disrespectful. How in God's name? First of all, you want to look at the stats? Cooper Kupp had 812 yards and 6 touchdowns. You know why? Because his ass didn't play the entire rest of the season. He got an injury.
That's what I don't like. It's like, what are you basing this on? If you're going to base it on last year, you got to go with the totality of last year, which means if you're injured, hey, unlucky. You didn't get the route. You better look next year. Okay, still put them as a high thing. You got to, let's say you take a reduction on what their one was last. Say if he was a 98 guy last year, let's give him 5. Let's take 5 over off him. That's fine. He's still 93. That's great for him. Or you take a couple off him. It's fine. But then I look at other guys who played last year, like Terry McLaughlin, who scored less touchdowns, There's a lot of guys. What are we basing this on? If we're looking at
because it's not potential either. Because otherwise, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase wouldn't have been like in the high 80s.
I'm okay with the top. I'm actually okay with the top.
I mean, like
where AJ kind of, after we go past 3, that's where I start to go, now this is, how did you get to this point? Because Justin Jefferson was special. He's been special since he's got into the league. And I'm okay with that. It's the same with Tyreek. He moved to another team, got a different quarterback, and was still special. So I'm okay with that. It's when we start getting to this third mark, that's when I'm like, well, what are we really basing this on? Because you can't turn around and go, well, if he didn't get injured.
Yeah, you can't say
that. You can't make that argument.
Yeah, because Mike Evans had 1,124 yards, 6 touchdowns. And mind you, he had that shit with a bad Brady and a bad Byron Leftwich, and he still
a bad
produces.
O-line.
Okay, now, Hopkins, 717 yards and 3 touchdowns. He shouldn't even be in the 90s. Give him an 88. Give him an 88. Okay, McLaurin, 1,191 yards, 5 touchdowns. What the hell?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, honestly, swap McLaurin and Evans. Like,
Evans should be ranked at a 94, 95.
Yeah,
First of all, he has been consistent his entire career. So he's never been bad. Now,
Never. Let's put that in perspective. Never. Madden, he has never been bad. So let's have a little look, because we're going to have a look at some of these guys. We're going to DeAndre. Let's have a little snoop. Let's get a little snoop full of what this guy has done in his career. He's had shit years. And you can turn around and go, oh, well, he got injured. Oh, well, he got injured. Well, you know what? Something that says about player? Lastability. Availability is the only ability.
Exactly. I'm just looking at the stats for this season. It's like, wait a minute. Hold on. Now, the first 3, like you said,
I have no problem
1,809 yards.
Mike Evans has had DeAndre Hopkins beat for 3 years straight. 4 years straight.
And
DeAndre Hopkins has only beaten him in 2017. That was fucking almost 5 years ago.
Yep. And that was when Deshaun Watson was an MVP.
Exactly.
And I'm pretty sure that was Josh McCown in 2017.
Brady. Evans had Winston back then. He still had good numbers, but the point is, Evans has always been that guy.
Yeah.
Again, CeeDee Lamb should not be it should not be higher than him.
CeeDee Lamb's had one good year.
Yeah.
Yes.
One great year, right? Let's have a little look at CD boy.
I think he had 1,300.
You keep reading them up, AJ, and I'll keep finding them.
Okay, I think he had 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns.
That seems right.
Amari Cooper had 1,160 yards and 9 touchdowns, which is like that.
With Jacoby Brissett,
And again, this is what we're saying. Is it based on last year? Because we got guys who are high up that didn't do anything last year due to injury. Fair enough. I'm okay with that. But you can't put them in the top because they weren't the top. Now, it's all fair. CeeDee Lamb, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns is a good year. His year before that wasn't as good as Mike Evans. So why is he above Mike Evans? Because he had one good year?
No, because he was a Cowboy. And see, this is another thing. It's a lot of bias in certain
franchises. One's a slot receiver and the other one's a fucking out receivers. One's a Z and an X and the other one's a fucking Y or F. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Mike Evans had more receiving yards than Jamar Chase this year. Jamar Chase had 1,046. Now he had 9 touchdowns. But again, Evans did all of this with a bad season. And and Jamar Chase has damn near an elite quarterback in Joe Burrow. I think he is elite. So you're talking about all of that. Wait a minute. And then McLaurin, that one.
Yeah, McLaurin
shouldn't even. McLaurin's like top 20, not top.
McLaurin shouldn't be above AJ Brown.
Exactly. AJ Brown shouldn't even be above Mike Evans. AJ Brown. So here's what I think realistically. McLaurin should have been at 88. Hopkins 88. McLaurin should have been at 89. If you want to be cute about it, 89. But the problem is a lot of people, because people have been like, that's my dog. I don't care about him being your dog. It's not because of course Evans is a Bucsman, but I would be like Evans is that guy if he was on another team.
Yeah.
Evans is just consistent. All these other guys, man.
Yeah.
What would happen?
Just a lesser version.
Yeah, and God forbid this, because Slick has touched on this. What if Justin Jefferson next season, no injuries, but he only gets 902 yards? Are you gonna start blaming him, or are they gonna go use excuses? Well, the quarterback play, because that's what I get when people say, "Well, Evans doesn't do this and Evans doesn't do that." Okay, wait a minute. Who was throwing Evans the fucking ball before this? How many quarterbacks and systems has he been through? How many coaches? And yet, when his name is called, he makes it happen. Injuries happen all the time. As Slick just said, longevity also is about players' greatness. You can't speculate on what somebody would fucking do if they were healthy.
Yeah,
because
if that's, you can play that game every single day. Like,
yeah, if that's the case, we can speculate. What if Evans had Brady for his whole career? Ooh,
yeah.
Can you imagine the numbers he would put up?
What if Jameis Winston got his LASIK while he was on the Buccaneers?
Something. And the funny thing is, if that's the thing, it's a biased situation. They're going by who sells the most.
Yeah, because no matter what, somebody's going to be upset with the rankings.
I'm going to bring them up, and AJ, you can. So we got Sean Spencer, who's our resident Commodores fan, and he's like, he's got some great points, so that's why I want to go through them. Does he get any credit for having? Oh no one's saying he's not good enough. I think all we're saying is he's not worth the rating that he's got. That's all.
I still think he's lesser than Evans. He reminds me a lot.
He ain't been in the league long enough for this. This is what we're talking about. McLaurin ain't been in the league long enough for you to just completely say this is that guy. A receiver, for me, you need at least 4 to 5 consistent years of.
That's all I've been saying is, okay, I can understand going with some of these big names right at the top, right? Because they had monster seasons. But then there are people below them who haven't had a good season as Mike Evans, still put on that pedestal, consistently throughout the years haven't had as good seasons as Mike Evans. Mike Evans has 20 touchdowns more than Terry. So why is he not above? I get it with the quarterback situation. I really do. I respect it. But at the same time, how do they compare these things? And that's what we're trying to understand. Because if you're only comparing it against last year, that's fine. Compare it against last year. Take Cooper Kupp out.
Oh yeah, if we compare it against last year, Cooper Kupp is like low 80s.
Exactly, and this is my point. It's like if you need to have a consistent basis. Mike Evans is one of the most consistent wide receivers in football. That's a fact that you can't change that. And this guy Terry is definitely consistent. Since he's come into the league, he's only had 1 year in his 4 years where he has been under 1,000 yards, and he weren't far off 1,000 yards.
That was his rookie season, right?
Rookie season, he went 9-19. Then he went 1-1-8. Then he went 1-0-53, and then he went 1-1. He's never exploded, and he's got 5, 7, and 4 in touchdowns. So he's on 21 touchdowns in 4 years. That's great stuff. We're just saying I think he's a top 10 wide receiver with a shit ton of potential if he's put in the right situation.
Yeah, if he was with Brady, like he would have exploded. Maybe not as good as Mike Evans, but
and Sean, and that's why I say I like how you said that. Nothing wrong with that, but where's that same energy and support for Evans? When we talked about all the quarterbacks he's been through, now it's a meh. Why does Evans get to play with a bat? Because first of all, Evans has been in the league longer, Sean. Been in the league much longer,
and has put up bigger numbers.
Yeah,
and put bigger numbers.
Even with Jameis Winston, he went for 1,500.
Okay, Sean, if you want to go top 15, I will give you that.
Oh, for sure,
100%. I'll give you top 15.
Madden is saying he's top 10.
I put Terry over CeeDee Lamb. Put it that way. I put him over CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb to me is highly overrated, but that's because he's a Cowboy. But
CeeDee Lamb has Dak Prescott.
And Sean, I want to ask you this: if Evans was okay, but this is from last year, and it's fine. If this is from his career, then I get it. If you go to last year, look at Evans' numbers. Evans had 14 touchdowns last season. 14. That was one of the highest of last season. We're talking about Madden.
We're talking about Madden. The wide receiver rankings of Madden.
Yeah, that's because Madden's rankings, according to them, Terry McLaurin is a top 10 wide receiver, and that's why I draw the line. I don't think he is yet.
Well, Cooper Kupp to me he should be at a 92, 93 because he got injured. So how would you put him at 96? Now you're going by of popularity.
Yes, exactly. And you can't do that with some players. You can't just turn around. They did it with JJ Watt for years. JJ Watt was awful for a long time, and he just kept on going in the 90s. And it's like, he's in the 99 club at one point. I'm like, for what?
For what?
Watt.
he's done.
And don't get me wrong, I love me some JJ Watt. JJ Watt is one of the best pass rushers in football. However, when you're not delivering it year in, year out, you can't. And it was one point where he hadn't been like a 10 sack dude for like 3 years, and he was still in that 90 argument. I'm like, why?
Exactly, and that's why we got to stop the popularity bullshit. Yeah,
He's right.
Sean, I've been said that for years. It's a popularity and marketing and who you are.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is literally a B-average receiver. He just happens to be on the Cowboys. When you're in big market city teams, they're still going to look at you and give you the benefit of the doubt. Again, if Evans played for the Giants or the Packers, first of all, his numbers with Aaron Rodgers would be on astronomical, because then you got to also.
Aaron Rodgers would have forced him the ball like nobody's business.
Right. You got to take into account. People don't realize the schemes too with coaches. A lot of great coaches know how to feed their primary receiver the ball all the time. But when you don't have that, and you have coaches that don't know what the hell they're doing, and I'll give you a perfect example. We all talk about Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver. We know this. Has it occurred to y'all? Do y'all realize that Jerry Rice had the privilege in his prime and great years to play with 3 elite quarterbacks? Joe Montana, Steve Young, and people forget Rich Gannon. People forget Rich Gannon was an MVP elite quarterback that got to a Super Bowl. That got to a Super Bowl. So it ain't like Jerry never had nobody bad throwing him the ball. You got to realize football. I think the problem is a lot of people think that football is like basketball, which is terribly incorrect. Basketball, that single player can take over a game because he's on offense and defense. When you're in football, it takes the whole machine to get shit right. We just talked about backs. Emmitt Smith is regarded as one of the GOATs, but can you imagine if Barry Sanders had Emmitt Smith's line? Emmitt Smith probably had fucking 20,000 rushing yards.
Yeah, he'd be the reigning dude. He would be.
Yeah. So it all boils down to the whole team and how it is. But these rankings are just a lot of the rankings after Stephon Diggs, after Cooper Kupp, it's just downright disrespectful, because now you're telling me, as Slick said, how are you judging this on Madden, guys? What are you judging this by? Are you judging this on potential or what ESPN's telling you or what somebody else is? Come on.
Because it can't be potential though, because every single time a rookie wide receiver does good, they still put him like at 80 something.
Yep.
Look at Justin Jefferson, he was 87. Jamar Chase 87.
That's
and
right.
They basically broke they were I think Jamar Chase at least won the offensive rookie of the year. I don't remember if Jefferson did.
I think he did. I think Justin Jefferson did. I will say this: Justin Jefferson has potential to be one of the best. Justin Jefferson picked up where Stephon Diggs left off.
Yeah. The issue with Justin Jefferson is he's the only guy the Vikings have.
Oh, I agree.
So it's so easy to shut him down.
Exactly. And that's why I think a lot of people don't realize. I want to see what happens, because for me also, I want to see what you do when playoffs come around. Mike Evans showed you what he does in the playoffs, especially that Super Bowl run. He was kicking ass. And in the second, when we played the Eagles and we embarrassed them in the playoffs, one of the best things is when Evans caught the touchdown and then did a flip in the end zone.
Oh, yeah, the end.
Evans showed you what, to me, a great wide receiver is. I want to see what he does when the playoffs get here, because that's my only hesitation about Devontae. We've seen what happened to Devontae when he gets to the playoffs. He gets shut down with the quickness. The Bucs did it on the Super Bowl run. He wasn't out there killing. So I just want to look at it like that. I would love to know the creators, where are you getting these rankings from? Are you just pulling the rabbit out of your ass and just saying, all right, well, everybody after top 5, we're gonna guess because we like this person? Because the Mike Evans thing is just downright disrespectful. On 90, that's just pitiful. Because
what was he last year? I think he was 93, if I remember.
Yeah, I think he was like a 93 or a 92. So it's like, what the
hell? The big season that he had as well.
Yeah, after basically leading the league with touchdowns.
Right, and let's not just go in on Evans. We got to talk about Antoine Winfield. Antoine Winfield.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I'm sorry. You can say he's a top 5 safety.
Like
There's
even
only
like the NFL executives, they did like the rankings. I think he was like 4 or 5. Like they did
Yep.
like the anonymous polling or whatever. I'm pretty sure he's either 4 or 5 or 6.
yeah, because Winfield is that guy. We know Winfield should be at least at 89 or 90.
Yeah,
At least.
was he 87?
Yeah, disrespectful. 89 or
Nice.
90. It's like, again, they worse. They still don't give work. Like they have worse as the third. I'm like, what right tackle? First of all, he's the best tackle in the game of football. There's not a right tackle that's better than him. Who?
Yeah.
Who
I mean,
as a right
really, if you
tackle?
look at all tackles, the only other guy who can maybe be better is Trent Williams.
Trent Williams, yes. Trent Williams is better, and I will say that Trent Williams is better because he's that guy, and he's showing you consistently of what he can do. But it just seems like Levante David to me should still be a 93 or a 94.
Well, nobody even knows who Levante David is. People are still ranking Devin White as the best running back on the.
I mean, yeah, I know.
And honestly, he's not even the third best linebacker on the team.
Uh-oh.
Look,
Again,
Sriracha Davis actually got an interception, so that's more than Devin White.
right, and that's what I think. Like the 90s players on the Bucs, and this is where I'll just Mike Evans, Levante David, Tristan Wirfs, Vita Vea. Those are the 4 people that should be solid 90s. Vita Vea should be at 94, 95 because he's one of the best nose tackles of the game.
He had 6.5 sacks last year, which is insane.
For a nose tackle,
Yeah.
People forget that. It's for a defensive tackle, it's not great because it's not. You're looking at about the 8 mark. It's still pretty. It's very good for a defensive tackle, but for a nose tackle who plays in on a shade on the center, that is amazing. Like there aren't many guys who've done that.
A guy who isn't even in for every single down because he's constantly taken out and injured.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the way that they rank it is all about perspective and perception. Yeah. When you're on a bad team, they pick what players they decide, okay, this person should be this and this person should be that, because I like
with the exception of Devontae Adams, all of those players were on good teams. I guess Terry McLaurin too.
Yeah.
With the exception, those were like players on exceptionally well teams.
Mm-hmm. And I will give Tyreek Hill his flowers. He still is extremely productive. Extremely productive. So
I don't think anyone could have saw coming that his numbers would go up. Like that's just insane.
I did, because I think he's with a team that's gonna force him the ball because he's the star and his speed is elite. Tyreek Hill has elite speed, so why wouldn't you force him the ball?
Yeah, but I think it was just worse quarterback, and also he had competition for the first time.
Yeah, he ain't Mahomes now, but Mahomes actually did better off without Tyreek because it's the pressure. Sometimes having a receiver who always says, gimme, 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 gimme is not a good thing for quarterbacks, because now you're fucking with the motion and now I got to force something to you. That's why Aaron Rodgers and Devontae never could go to better heights, because we knew who they were going to throw it to, and we just gonna pick you off, or we going to sack you because we know you're going to, or double your number one guy. Mahomes finally played a full this year of being a quarterback. He didn't need Tyreek. Let's see how Tyreek's numbers are going to be now with a quarterback that's inconsistent. Don't be surprised if his numbers drop to like 12 or something, 1,200 yards. So, again, this Madden shit, y'all got to just give. It's not because we're just Bucs fans, but we enjoy players that are good. Just show me good players. I respect the other players. Like Saquon Barkley should be in the 90s. It's not hard. Fred Warner's 90s, but when you guys just do the shit that y'all do with certain players, now we go, okay, how is it that this person fits this criteria, but you take this one out?
Because I think no matter what, somebody is always going to be mad about it. It's like that's just kind of what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Because like we talked about earlier, like, you know how many Packers fans were upset because Christian Watson got a 77? Because they're like, well, he played so much better than that. And it's like, really? that's the hill you want to die on?
Yes. I mean, when you're a Panthers fan, that's all you got. so
You're gonna fight for something, right?
yeah. When your team is in the crapper, hey, we're the only team in our division that has something to look forward to. Like you said, we should be going for this division because the rest of the NFC South is butt.
Yeah, no, I've made the argument when I did like my schedule thing. I basically said it's the Bucks and Panthers to lose because they're the two teams that have the most potential. Because I was like, the Falcons kind of are the safest, just simply because they have, I would say, the best head coach. Because Frank Reich, I don't know for sure, but it's like I have respect for Arthur Smith just for doing what he has done with the Falcons. So it's like, I don't know, like, because like that team has no talent. There's nothing. Like they have like Kyle Pitts. They're okay. It's like, and Drake London, I guess, kind of showed up. But it's like, there's nothing on that team.
Their entire offense was what's his name, Cordell Patterson,
and
that guy was a Swiss Army knife. That's he's like their savior. Once that guy's gone, can because he can run the ball a little bit. He can pass, and he can just show up anywhere on the field. You can just literally put him in any spot, and he will do something right.
Yeah, because I think last year when he made like his final like punt return for a touchdown, there was like the graphic where it's like he has the most punt returns out of all active players for touchdowns. But it's like even like Tyler Algier, like I thought like them picking Bijan, I was like, yes. Because I thought that was the stupidest move. But even so, it's just like the Panthers, like I think Bryce Young, there's a pretty good chance that he's the guy. But it's like, what wide receivers is he throwing it to? Oh,
exactly.
DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo, and Adam Thielen. Yeah, I'm scared.
And he still has to understand NFL speed because that's something that a lot of people don't. They think every quarterback when they come from college, even with the hype, they're going to be fine. The NFL speed is a lot different, man.
Yeah.
Like you can't just come in here and expect to just throw all over the damn place and not get picked off or eat a sack, or it doesn't work that way. But that's what it is, and that's my final say on the rankings. Madden, you got to do better. Yes, Madden, do better. If you're not gonna do it right, don't do it at all. I'll go to NFL game day before I do this shit because you ain't gonna keep disrespecting players just because. And then one guy, what's next? A guy gonna play one game and then he's out for the rest of the season. He's still gonna be in 97 because he had one spectacular game.
What happens if Cooper Kupp tears his ACL? Like, what's he gonna be ranked then?
Exactly. So what are you gonna do? So again, we want them to be the best, but they gotta play. They gotta play the best to be the best. That's just all. That's how I feel about that shit. So anybody else got anything to say? Because it's getting a little late over for Slick. You know, what is it, like 4 a.m. We can wrap this up.
4:15, baby. 4:15.
Yeah,
but I'll finish it with my final note. Is just to let you guys know, as we were crunching through the numbers, Vita Vea had the second most sacks at the nose tackle position.
I rest my case. And who was number one?
Yeah,
it depends on who you consider the nose tackle on Philadelphia.
See, I rest my case. Rest my case.
Remember, it's Jalen Carter or it's Fletcher Cox.
That's right.
I rest my case, guys. Look, we don't be talking out our asses. The world, Buck fans know. Look, we gonna give you the good stats. We're not here to just talk. Oh, no.
No Pro Bowl for him as well, though. No Pro Bowl for him because they would have just picked free techs. They would have picked four to five free techs. That's what they would have picked.
Yeah, because
that's the disrespectful thing. It's the same with the Pro Bowl vote that really upsets me. Is I think they should do a 3-4 look and they should do a 4-3 look, just because people who are on a 4-3 on a 4-3 team. So you have a true right linebacker and a true weak backer and a true strong backer, rather than having a right backer and a left backer who are your pass rushers and two inside guys, which is what we're doing now, which is what basically kind of gave Levante David a fair bit of respect because he kind of got to play in the middle. So he was being ranked against other people who were middle linebackers. Before that, he was probably the best Sam linebacker in all of football. But for some reason, outside linebackers, they went, oh, no, we'll just go with the pass rushing guys.
Yep.
So people like Von Miller and what have you took his took his spot. And no shade on Von Miller. He's an amazing player, but he's not what Levante David does. And you expect Levante David to do what Von Miller does is completely different. So they should do that in that scheme. And that's why I honestly believe when you're doing your defense, you need to pick two. You got to have your strong safety, your free safety. You need to have your nickel back. Nickel back's got to be one of them. What is a Pro Bowl position, in my opinion. Instead of picking just another outside back, outside corner, you need to pick a specialist at that position, because just because Jalen Ramsey is one of the few that can bounce around, but could you put Colton Davis at nickel? No, you can't.
Absolutely not.
So that's my point. So that position needs to become a valid position. So you need to do a 3-4 look. You need a 4-3 look, and then you need to have the specialist that's a nickel position.
Thanks. I love it, Slick. Love it. We let you go though, but Devin, please tell everybody where they can find you and what's your next moves.
So, I mean, I want to hopefully just get more stuff out during, like, as the season moves along, and as, you know, training camp. I won't be able to go just because I actually live in North Carolina, which, you know, it's enemy territory, I guess. But so yeah, you can find me at canoncrunch.wordpress.com if you want to read what I have. I recently published, you know, my whole, I know this is looking towards the future, which is not always fun, but I kind of did basically, if the Bucs running game doesn't improve, which of the 3 top guys who didn't sign their franchise tag would the Buccaneers be better off with? But spoilers, I still say it's Saquon Barkley. But yeah, I'm just, you know, hopefully some more news comes out. I can write about it. I try to not do like what some of the other blog sites, I'm not going to name names, obviously. I try to do only actual news and don't just do just bullshit, just so I have something every single day.
Respect it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, man. And again, always thank you for your time too. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, we'll get you back. No worries. We'll get you back.
Exactly.
We'll get you back coming up soon. Maybe when training camp's in full swing and we're talking about this running back position, maybe you can have a bit of insight to there. Hopefully, we might see some movement with these guys on these guys who haven't signed tags or what have you. We'll hopefully have a bit more information and build something off that.
And obviously, you know, seeing what the quarterback battle is, which I think was what everyone really cares about.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Until then, we'll catch you soon.
Exactly.
I look forward to being back here then.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Much appreciated. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
take care,
no problem.
man. Yes, sir. And for me, guys, you can always catch me on It's About Bucking Time, and also AJTurnUpMySpreadShop.com. Check out some of my merch. But again, always catch Bucs Reports, the Aftermath, 9:30 Monday or Wednesday sometimes. But also, please send us your thoughts, ideas, your opinions on certain players. If you want to ask us certain questions, we're always here. But always go Bucs.
Go Bucs, baby. And that is the end of the show. I want to thank Sean Spencer personally for commenting as much as he did and giving us a little bit more info. It's like, this guy is a huge Washington Commanders fan, or as we like to call them, the Commodores. He is a stand-up dude and has his own show too, so go check his stuff out. Sean Spencer is the man. So, without further ado, the Buccaneers are going into camp. We're pretty sure who the quarterback is, but you never know what can happen. And of course, we're always dogged by Madden screwing us as hard as they can. However, we will prevail. Hopefully, Baker Mayfield shows something more than what we've seen in the last few years from him, and he does capture some of those good years that he had when he was with Cleveland. The aftermath probably will be on a Wednesday next week because of the fact that I'm going through a 3-week game after game after game after game situation. So we have our midweek practice on Wednesdays. I need to get my scout. I need to get my game plan all set before then. That's usually done between Monday and Tuesday. So I don't really get as much time to pour into this. So Wednesday next week and Wednesday the week after, more the most likely situations. But without further ado, thank you for everyone who's come in. I want to thank our guest, Devin for coming on. And of course, I got my bro host with the most. That is AJ Turn Up in Style. Check his merch out. That's my guy. Bucs on 3, Bucs on me. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs.